Hello, folks. I'm Scarl SCS, but that's not important right now, as in this episode of Cogs, Gears and Optic Sensors, we are looking at issue number 8 of the ongoing Marvel US Transformers title, featuring our first proper look at the Dinobots on the cover art from Mark Bright, and with William Johnson returning on art duties from last issue as he brings Bob Budiansky's script to life. We waste no time picking up from the last issue, as we see Ratchet trying to fulfill his part of the Right of Oneness as he journeys to the Savage Land in search of the Dinobots. We get a rare look at his mobile repair bay on this opening page, which I'm assuming didn't get a huge amount of coverage in the original book, as it didn't really fit with the kind of toy versus character model aesthetic that was going on at the time. It's also worth a note that this is the last ever reference we get to the Marvel Comics universe, with this cutout box calling out events from Avengers number 257. Now, this still isn't the G.I. Joe crossover we've been waiting for, but I know this is the Savage Land, but how big is that snake? Ratchet encounters him and quickly scares him off with his laser scalpel, only for him to slink away into the water unnoticed. Now, given that every comic book is one reader's first issue, and quite frankly, why wouldn't it be with 3 giant robot dinosaurs on the cover, we get this exposition page recapping events leading up to the issue so far, including the strung up Autobots, the head of Optimus Prime, Ratchet's showdown with Megatron, and their subsequent pacts to remove Shockwave, which is why our illustrious Autobot medic is here in the first place. Courtesy of this small shuttle on board the Ark, which whisked our hero into Antarctica and the setting for this story. His musings are quickly interrupted by a scanner indicating Cybertronian life forms. Now, either Ratchet is really, really lucky, or the Savage Land is tiny, and if I'm honest, I'm not sure which. However, meanwhile, back at the Ark, Shockwave continues his plan to have the still active head of Optimus Prime moved to the ore rig he claimed, and Megatron is playing the part of dutiful soldier well, which Shockwave even comments on as he continues to enact his scheme to use the Matrix to build more Decepticons and their standard objective of stripping the Earth dry. Megatron has still not acquiesced completely though, and the little thought bubble at the end lets the reader know that he's still biding his time, hoping to usurp Shockwave in the long run. Ratchet, however, has uncovered his first Dinobot in the form of Slag, way before any of the naming conventions showcase themselves, and it's probably just as well he didn't uncover Slapper too. And he sets about trying to recover the memory files he's looking for, which he's successful in doing so, and we get some neat backstory about the Dinobots being dispatched by the Ark. What's also worth a mention here is the Snarl character model, which seems to be based off his G1 toy prototype, which was actually featured on the original G1 packaging with its distinctive red head sculpt. Ratchet is able to fill in the gaps around what we, the readers, know about Shockwave's battle with the Dinobots, and it re-emphasises just what a powerful foe he is, as he takes on all 5 Dinobots single-handedly, bringing them into a full sense of security, and then throws them over a cliff which is adjacent to the tar pit that Ratchet is now excavating. And to quote G1's 6-shot from the Rebirth episode, he treats them like shooting cyber ducks in a barrel.
5 up, 5 down. It's like shooting cyber ducks in a barrel.
It's a last-ditch belligerent move from Snarl, however, which brings the cliff tumbling down, Shockwave included, submerging all 6 of them into the tar with the landslide that he's just rained down on them. Ratchet gets a jump start though, as his prodding and poking seems to have brought Slag back online, whose first instinct is to attack Ratchet until he sees the faction symbol on the medic's chest and hears Ratchet's plea around stopping Shockwave. Back in Portland, though, and at GB BlackRock's aerospace plant, which fell to Soundwave last issue, our CEO is giving a joint press conference with the US military, only to have Shockwave literally drop in on proceedings, as the military personnel who clearly haven't done their homework engaging once more to unsurprisingly little effect, with BlackRock looking more than a little red-faced in front of the media. Inside the aerospace factory, though, despite Soundwave's annoyance with his captive workforce, Shockwave prepares to use the severed head of Optimus Prime to construct 6 new Decepticons from the 1985 line. We won't see them this issue, but I'm sure we will shortly. Josie Bella, though, is continuing with what we can only very loosely describe as rehab, whilst watching the news and seeing the Decepticons amassed at her employer's former building. It would appear that she's using her time well, and slowly plotting her return, certainly if the expression on her face in that last panel is anything to go by. In the arc, however, Megatron is proved wrong in a somewhat timely manner by a pre-Skype video call from Ratchet, after only lamenting in the panel before that he should have offlined him while he had the chance. Megatron looks on with glee as he sees what is actually Shockwave's previous defeat played out before him, and he sets out his alleged intention to conclude his deal with Ratchet. The Autobot medic, who by this point has clearly returned from Savage Land, sets out to the rendezvous point only to be distracted again by his bewilderment of human activities, skiing in this case. So let's hope he never meets Energon Snowcat. Unusually for a Decepticon, Megatron revealed that he had no intention of keeping to his side of the bargain, but being well over 4 million years old, Ratchet has learned a thing or two and already has the Dinobots laying in wait as a bit of on-hand muscle. How deep that snowfall is and how much prep time they needed is anyone's guess. Now Ratchet almost goes full Bond villain here, explaining his grandmaster plan to Megatron and how he duped him, as the Dinobots attempt to overwhelm him with brute force. But an enraged Megatron is not to be underestimated, and he flies into an almost uncontrollable rage, leveling the Dinobots, but we're going to give the benefit of the doubt having only just been brought back online. A stunned Ratchet, figuring that he has to do something, attempts to shoulder barge Megatron off the precipice, but it literally has no effect as Ratchet bounces backwards. And just even Megatron sees how valiant Ratchet's efforts were. We get our second cliff diving Decepticon in the space of one issue as the ground crumbles beneath Megatron's feet, his plan foiled, Shockwave still leading, and the Autobots with their new Dinobot allies in tow. As Megatron turns into his pistol mode to try and survive the fall a little better, and the 6 Autobots head off to the Ark to rescue their colleague. The closing epilogue, though, sees Josie Bella's work come to fruition as she makes short work of a threatening TV set and declares herself ready to check out. Interestingly, these 4 panels were cut from the UK printing, as the next few issues of the UK book would all contain UK original stories, and the lead into the next US issue wouldn't have worked so well story-wise. It was replaced instead with this Dinobot fact sheet that you can see here. The UK also got its own covers for their reprints, with issue 27 featuring this Shockwave cover by 2000 AD artist Robin Smith, and issue 28 making good use of the original US art. I've often wondered if the fact that it's the same 3 Dinobots that were on the cover were the ones that appeared in the SOS Dinobots episode from the G1 cartoon, meaning that perhaps only certain character models were available at that exact moment. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. As always, folk, please consider subscribing to the channel and leaving a like. If you didn't like what we've done here today, then leave one anyway. Thanks for watching along, and above all, stay safe.